Trevor Alt is outside the medical center in Maine where some of the victims are being treated. Good morning, Trevor.
Good morning, Michael. So overnight, we did hear from Central Maine Medical Center that confirmed they're responding to this mass casualty, mass shooting. But in the chaos and with this incredibly high number of victims, they haven't even been able to confirm the number of people that they are treating. We've heard from one employee inside who said, of course, they have called in all emergency department and critical care nurses. Surrounding hospitals say they've activated their emergency response. They've called in all available staff. But you have to imagine there is some concern this morning about this area's ability to respond on short notice to the sheer volume of victims. We also have to note this morning the police presence surrounding the hospital, a number of law enforcement vehicles and several officers with long guns waiting at the entrance. So anybody who tries to get into the hospital is going to have to stop and check in with them first. And in the area, of course, that shelter-in-place order still in effect. Officials are urging all non-essential personnel to stay home. You'd have to imagine right now all medical staff is going to be essential to treat all these people who need care. Robin.
You would imagine that to be the case. Absolutely, Trevor. Thank you.
Whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today. But if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on do our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace.
Pioneering actor Richard RoundTree, who died yesterday at the age of 81. He was best known for playing the private detective Shaft in a series of films in the 1970s, which are still influencing culture to this day. Its Oscar-winning theme is as synonymous as the character it was written for and the actor who played him.
Who is the man that would risk his neck for his brother, man?
Shaft! As the title role in 1971 Shaft, Richard RoundTree delivered a performance, earning him a place as one of big screen's first black action heroes.
This cat is a bad mother.
Shut your mouth.
I'm talking about Shaft.
And we can dig it.
Known for his commanding swagger while cruising through New York City streets and wearing his signature leather coat.
My name is John Shaft. Freeze.
RoundTree's private eye, John Shaft, was suave and tough as nails while taking no prisoners going up against the mob. Shaft and its two sequels had box office success. Many other blaxploitation genre films would follow in its steps. Born in 1942 in Westchester County, New York, RoundTree was a model before he hit the big screen, with Shaft being his first feature film.
He was literally every woman's dream, and he was also the guy that every man wanted to be.
Gary Gerard Hamilton, an entertainment journalist with the Associated Press, says RoundTree's character in Shaft was a groundbreaking moment in Hollywood.
His character was somebody that, Black people, young and old, could relate to. He was, your average person. He could be your father, but because he was fighting crime and doing things that we had never seen before on screen, I think a lot of people related to him in that aspect.
Roundtree's career spanned more than 4 decades, but all roads seem to lead back to Shaft.
Mr. Big Time Private Eye.
At the end of his career, Roundtree returned to his signature role, this time passing the baton to Samuel L. Jackson, where Roundtree appeared in Shaft's 2 revivals in 2000 and 2019, playing Jackson's uncle.
Let's do our thing.
And he still had that swagger, you know.
He did. I
Him
like
in
that last shot.
2019.
Looking good.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson tweeted, "The passing of Richard RoundTree is a real blow. Loved being around him, learning, working, laughing, feeling blessed to have an idol, live up to who I expected him to be." He said, "Thanks for making us feel real good about ourselves." So
and they
rest
look
in
so
power.
good.
Yeah.
It makes me, the first movie came out in 1971. It makes me now want to go back and look at it again.
That's right. That's right.
It was terrific.
Richard RoundTree. He's a bad mother.
Shut your mouth.
All right.
All right, what's going on, family? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, a lot has gone on in the last, I want to say, within the last 48 hours that we've been going to be talking about. Well, of course, our main topic is the face of terrorism, what's going on in Maine. But I did want to start this off in saying rest in power to John Shaft himself, Mr. Richard RoundTree, dead at the age of 81 from battling pancreatic cancer. It was reported by RoundTree's spokesperson that he had a brief battle with pancreatic cancer, which he succumbed to at his home in Los Angeles. RoundTree survived by 5 children. He was married twice, both divorced. As you saw in the news report, he started off as a model, but what he is most known for, obviously, is for that 1972 movie, Shaft, which was directed by the legendary Gordon Parks Sr. And the Shaft series basically is a mainstay, especially of Black culture. From the theme song written by Black Moses himself, Isaac Hayes, the songs that, the movie, I'm sorry, I said 72, the movie came out in 71. It had Moses Gunn, who played Bumpy Jonas, and Gwen Mitchell, who played Ellie Moore. Antonio Fargas was in it. They call it blaxploitation, and yes, you could call it as part of the blaxploitation era. But it really started because of Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song, which of course I've always talked about, and the influence of that and who played a role in it, believe it or not, outside of Melvin Van Peebles. But Melvin Van Peebles got the money and loan to make Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song in 71 as a result of Bill Cosby, because Bill Cosby gave him a $50,000 loan. And I'm sorry, what's going on with my camera? There we go. He gave him a $50,000. There we go. I'm back. Y'all see my handsome face. He gave Melvin Van Peebles a $50,000 loan in which to make the film. So we want to say rest in power to Richard RoundTree. I remember him even in outside of Shaft. I remember him doing a lot of TV roles as well. He was, of course, in Being Mary Jane with Gabrielle Union, as well as a Netflix series he did with Loretta Devine and I think Tia Mowry. But I remember him also, he played a sergeant in, Army Sergeant in Amen. Family Reunion, that was the series. But I also remember him on Amen where he played this Army Sergeant, drill sergeant who was making a pass at Thelma, as well as on Amen, as well as playing a pastor in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And joining me now, of course, a man who knows a lot about the blaxploitation era of the film is the author of The Man Crisis, a man who's written over 75 plus books. He is Sean James, author of The Man Crisis. How you doing tonight, Sean?
I'm all right, Gavin. How are you?
I'm doing fine, brother. I'm doing good. Yeah, he was Kim's dad in a different world. That's correct. Sean, I think you were born. Well, okay, my camera keeps getting unplugged. I don't know what's going on with that. But hold on a sec. Okay. Sean, Tell us a little bit. I mean, we 2023 is getting to be a bum year, but Richard Roundtree, you have anything to say about his passing? Because I know you were a kid. I don't think you were born when Shaft came out, but
I wasn't born when Shaft came out, but Shaft was a film that had a major impact on my entire life. I mean, this was a movie that defined Black manhood and Black masculinity.
right.
Richard Roundtree's portrayal of Shaft was iconic. That's related to the portrayal of Black manhood and Black masculinity. And that's why his passing meant a lot to me, because we lost one of the all-time great icons of Black manhood, because before Shaft, we really didn't get to see a strong image of Black manhood and Black masculinity in film. I mean, when it came to film, we usually just got these minstrel images of these cowering, scared, cowardly Black characters, or these characters that were in the background like butlers and maids. And if it wasn't for the foundation laid by Bill Cosby by financing Sweet Sweetback, we wouldn't have Shaft in the mainstream, because it was Sweet Sweetback that opened the door for Shaft. But we also have to thank Bill Cosby for giving Richard Roundtree the advice to go into acting, because Richard Roundtree, before this, he was a model for Ebony Fashion Fair, and he did ads for other different projects. But it was Bill Cosby who gave him the advice and told him to go into acting. And this led to him going into theater and training, and eventually he wound up getting cast for Shaft. And they had to fight to get him to get that role, because Gordon Parks Sr., he was wanted to put a Black actor in the role, but the studio wanted a white actor. The entire material was originally written for a white actor, but he did advocate and push and did get the role for Richard Roundtree. And that opened the door for what many people consider to be like a Black Superman at the time, because we rarely ever got to see an image of Black manhood and Black masculinity like that in media. And this was the first time we saw a Black man actually standing up to white people, standing strong and being confident.
I gotta ask you something. Bill Cosby actually gave Richard Roundtree his big break.
He gave him advice to go in acting.
Okay. Where did you read that at?
I read that in an article I posted up. It was, I think it was on not Entertainment Weekly, but one of these. It's in I have a video dedicated to him. Okay. And Bill Cosby did give him the advice to go into acting.
I see it here. Okay, hold on. So everybody, I didn't mean to interrupt. I had to interrupt you so everybody would know that. But you see, I'm pointing this out because Bill Cosby, of course, when people talk about him, they want to talk about the pound cake speaks, or these allegations that, I've always said, and if you read my book, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., Unfounded, you can get that on Kindle. But the impact that he had in Black Hollywood, he not only helped Richard Roundtree, he helped Melvin Von Peebles. He also helped Clarence Williams III. He gave him, I know that much, that he gave him a letter of recommendation to Aaron Spelling when he did the TV show Mod Squad, right? So, yeah, and it says it right here, and you can read on the Hollywood Reporter. It says right there, in 1967, Roundtree heeded advice from Bill Cosby and moved to New York to hone his acting skills. He joined the Negro Ensemble Company and worked with the likes of Esther Rolle, Arthur French, Robert Hooks, Rosalind Cash, Denise Nichols, and Moses Gunn, who was later a Shaft co-star. So that's correct.
Yeah, Bill Cosby opened the door for a lot of Black actors, and he basically shaped, again, the entire image of Black manhood and Black people for generations. And that's what Shaft was about, laying that foundation for what was to come in the future with the Cosby Show. I mean, if it wasn't for Bill Cosby, we wouldn't really have Shaft. We wouldn't have Sweet Sweetback. And I'm just saddened to hear about the passing of Richard Roundtree, because, again, his role of Shaft, again, shaped the way Black boys and Black men started to see themselves, changed our perception of self, ushered in a new type of story for Black people. And I'm really saddened to hear about Richard Roundtree's passing and his great legacy, because his role of Shaft is iconic. It will be unforgettable. It's remembered for generations, and it's just sad to hear about his passing. And that's why I have to say, I have to say rest in power to this elder, and I have to say I'm sorry that he's gone, but we have to continue building on his legacy and the legacy of great men like Bill Cosby, because these men kicked down doors and changed the way we did things, and we have to continue building on their memory and honoring their legacy.
Right. And I want to say this too. One of the things about Bill Cosby, about Richard Roundtree, he actually was one of the first men. A lot of people may not be aware of this, that went public with being diagnosed with breast cancer. In the early 2000s, he had found out that he had breast cancer, which was a shock to him and to a lot of men because it was not thought of that men could actually contract breast cancer. But in the 90s, he was diagnosed with this, and actually he did get treated for it, but apparently cancer returned and it went into his pancreas, which is the worst form of cancer you could get. So one of the worst forms. So I'm greatly saddened about his loss of his life. He will be well missed. I did want to ask you something too, Sean. The movie Shaft that came out in 2019, of course, that they had Samuel L. Jackson playing Gail King. They were incorrect in that, saying that he was his nephew. In the 2000 version, yes, he was the nephew, but then in 2019, they corrected it and said, well, he was pretending to be his uncle, when in reality, Samuel Jackson was his son and John Shaft II. But I wanted to know, and I think you did a review of the Shaft 2019 movie. You didn't care for it too much.
No, I didn't care for the 2019 Shaft movie because it wasn't Shaft. It was a bunch of stereotypes. It was a clown show. I mean, it emasculated. It was everything that was diametrically opposed to the original Shaft, which was a positive portrayal of black manhood and black masculinity. I mean, this 2019 one was a joke filled with beta males, and it did not honor what the original Shaft movie was about. But that's what we get when we have stuff made by the white media. They don't really want to elevate black manhood and black masculinity in their media, and they like to put these clown shows up like the 2019 version of Shaft, which flopped at the box office because most black men knew that that wasn't who we were.
Yeah. The soundtrack was good, but yeah, the movie was okay. I didn't really care for Jesse T. Usher, truth be told, but hey, guys making money. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. But rest in power to John Shaft himself, Mr. Richard RoundTree. He'll be well missed, huh? So as we move on, Sean, I titled this show "The Face of Terrorism," because if you know already, you're on the East Coast. The big news that's going on is what you have with this deranged killer, this shooter, who Robert Card, who's Army sergeant out of the reserves, the Army Reserves, that is accused of killing more than 18 people in Maine, also wounding several others that are in critical condition. He killed, as we know, at least 7 people in a bowling alley and an additional 8 in a bar, and some other stragglers that were around. And I played that video for everyone earlier on courtesy of ABC News. There is still a manhunt that is going on for this man. And I wanted to talk about it with you, what's going on there, ladies and gentlemen, because everybody's worried. They even have people on lockdown. Have you seen this? They were asking people to stay in their homes as a result of this shooting that took place. And I happen to notice with these men, of course, when these things happen, they like to mention the use of the AR-15. You all know how I feel about AR-15s and the Second Amendment. I stand wholeheartedly with it. This does not change for me. This does not change what that the idea that gun control is going to stop stuff like this, because we've shown it hasn't. And if I'm not mistaken, Maine is a very liberal city. Sorry, let me apologize. Let me take this back. I said city. That's incorrect. Maine is a liberal state. The East Coast up there, that's pretty liberal, right? So
yeah,
they had passed barely 4 years before this rampage, and you look at how the Associated Press writes this. They said how Maine passed a law to try and prevent mass shootings barely 4 years ago. It was called a yellow flag law, different from the red flag law cropping up in other states to seize weapons from gun owners viewed as a threat. In a sign of the pro-Second Amendment mindset in Maine, a gun rights group helped write the law, and critics said that while it was a first step towards stronger gun safety measures, the state could have saved more lives by doing more, like passing a red flag law. The yellow flag law and permissive gun measures in Maine are coming under greater scrutiny in the aftermath of a massacre that authorities say was carried out by a man who was committed to a mental health facility for 2 weeks this past summer and had reported hearing voices and threats to shoot up a military base. It was not clear whether anyone used the yellow flag law in the suspect's case, but gun control advocates on Thursday blamed the killings on what one called Maine's weak gun laws. Whenever these things happen, they always want to blame the laws, and I notice they never blame the criminal. We don't put the blame on the person that actually did this. We put the blame on the people and the laws. The laws do not and cannot, ladies and gentlemen, they're there for order. They're there for basically as a guide for everyone to follow and to be obeyed. And unfortunately, they don't get enforced until after a crime happens. That's typically how this works. That's why there's always, when you read statutes, especially when you commit mass murder or DWI or theft or robbery, whatever crime, they list the penalties there if you're convicted of it. So you got to actually do something in order for it to stop. But these laws that are put in place, and they have whoa, Sean, you got to mute that. So now they're talking about this. They found his car that was abandoned. They've been searching on land and water for the suspect in Wednesday's shootings. They stated the Coast Guard has even sent out a patrol boat because he may have, they're even saying there's a possibility he could have killed himself because they can't find him. Now, this happened in Lewiston, Maine. And the suspect's car was discovered by a boat launch near the Androscoggin River that connects to Kennebec. And they found his 15-foot boat unaccounted for. So that means he's missing. You saw the pictures that I had of the shooter there in the avatar, Sean. Everybody else did. And what we know about the shooter so far, this is Robert Card, 40 years old, at a U.S. Army reservist. He's a sergeant. They say that pictures of him fatally shooting 18 people at a bowling alley and restaurant in Lewiston, Maine. Maine State Police Colonel William Ross said police have issued the warrant for Card on 8 counts of murder. He said that those counts will increase when the other 10 victims are identified. You notice when these shootings take place, the main thing is that they take place where a person, let's just say, can't protect themselves. You notice that? It's either in a church, it's in a school, or at a bowling alley where they don't allow you to carry weapons. Some places, now of course that's a private business like a bowling alley, but I bowl myself, and you're not allowed to bring weapons in the bowling alley. Well, guess what? This criminal, I don't know what they have up there in Maine. I'm going to just go on a limb and say you can't bring those. But this guy brought an AR-15 there and just started open fire. You know why? Nobody could protect themselves. When, if there was a security guard there, and sometimes I've been in these things, they may have one sitting outside. What could he do? I don't know if they had one in this case. There's no mention of it from what I've read in the reports. but I want everyone to look at this. So they have this manhunt, and you can see here, there's a sign, News Center in Maine. They got a big sign that says shelter in place. They're telling people to seek shelter. So I'm going to play, I guess this is the live stream here.
Keep that story out there and provoke that conversation. For sure. That sounds great. Anything else you feel like that might be worthwhile in this conversation?
No, it's just, one of the, when I go to cities, that have been devastated by mass shootings, people, they're very personal. They want to protect the image of their town. And I always point out it.
But we also today learned a little bit more about Robert Card. He lives in a town about 20 minutes from here. Let me show you where he lives. He lives in Bowdoin, Maine. And as you can see, we couldn't get to his house because ATF and police agents have surrounded it and cut off the streets. Neighbors in that area, many of them wouldn't talk to us out of loyalty to the Card family. Meanwhile, just up the road, the Card family is a cattle family. They own a lot of land there in town. They're well respected. At least that's what a family friend told me just a short while ago.
As far as you can see, everything around here is their land. They're farmers. They're really good people.
What about Robert?
I knew he was back around last year because I saw his brother and talked to him while he was hunting. And other than that, he's been in the military the last 20 years, as far as I knew.
Married, kids?
I don't think so. Yeah, I've been here for 44 years. I know everybody. I mean, it's a small community. I mean, Cards are really good people. They're hard people, and this whole thing is absolutely mind-blowing.
Says this whole thing is mind-blowing. And you can see from there, I'm going to put this up. You see the picture there of him in the bowling alley. So this is it from
approximately 6:56 this evening. A couple of shooting incidents occurred here with multiple casualties in the city of Lewiston. And police are currently searching for Robert R. Card, 4/4 of 1983 of Bowdoin. Card is considered armed and dangerous. He is a person of interest, however, and that's what we'll label him at moving forward until that changes. If people see him, they should not approach Card or make contact with him in any way. The shelter-in-place order that currently stands in Lewiston remains. A vehicle, which was a vehicle of interest in this incident, was located in Lisbon, and we are now also asking residents in Lisbon to shelter in place. So please share that information.
So as you heard, they're asking the citizens and Lewiston to stay in their home. Oh wait, Sean's texting and it's over the mic. Hold on. Sorry, Sean. This is the face of terrorism. Clearly, one of your examples. He sounds like one of the textbook beta males you discuss in your books, like The Man Crisis. And this is an Army sergeant, for goodness sakes, that did this. Who knows what the reason why, but they're already talking about his mental health. Sean, what do you think of this?
All right. Well, when I look at this whole mass shooting that took place, this definitely does fit the pattern and profile for beta males that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. And when I listen to this guy and the arguments about him regarding mental health, I have to believe that they are some sort of excuse. And I believe that they're an excuse because when I look at this guy's actions, they don't seem like the actions of a mentally ill individual, because in a previous incident, he allegedly said that he would shoot up a military compound. And the reason why he didn't do that is because he knew that those individuals would fire back. And that's not what a mentally ill individual would do, because a mentally ill individual doesn't have any sense of logic. No, the actions to go to that restaurant and bowling alley clearly show that he was of sound mind, as I believe, and it shows that he was of sound mind because only a guy would go to a restaurant and a bowling alley because he knew that there would be nobody there to fight back. And that's what a lot of mass shooters want to do, because from my experience doing research on them, what they want to do is get power in a situation. And because they want to get power in a situation, what they do is go out here and take out their weapons and attack, as Mr. Boy said in many of his videos, soft targets, because they know that those individuals can't fight back or can't defend themselves. So this whole case definitely is the kind of mass shooting that beta males participate in. And this guy definitely sounds like a beta male, one that is trying to use his skills not only as related to weapons training, but also wants to use his skills as related to trying to manipulate people into believing that he's some sort of mentally ill. But no, I've seen many of these shooters, and this guy definitely is not mentally ill at all. No, what he's doing is trying to make it look like something that it's not. And he wants to try to do this because he wants to try to get people to excuse his violence. But his violence, plain and simple, was about hurting people who couldn't fight back. So I look at this whole situation, and it is the face of modern terrorism, and the face of terrorism nobody wants to talk about. And most in the mainstream media, what they want to do to deflect from all of these white male mass shooters is go out here and try to reframe shootouts between Pookie and Ray Ray as mass shootings. That's one deflection that they try to use. The other one is trying to redefine mass shootings by saying that incidents like Pookie and Ray Ray shootouts are mass shootings. But a mass shooting, by definition, is usually a lone gunman who goes into a venue where people cannot defend themselves, taking out a high-powered weapon, and then using that weapon to kill as many people as possible in an effort to participate in what I call an adult temper tantrum, because life isn't going their way. So what these individuals look to do is go out here and participate in these acts of violence, and a lot of them are carefully and meticulously planned. They are not something that is done on impulse like Pookie and Ray Ray's shootouts. No, these are perfectly planned and meticulously planned. And a lot of people, because in America, we don't want to deal with the real roots of these mass shooters, which is the collapse of the American family and the dysfunctional way males are raised, is what we look to do is deflect by talking about gun control laws. And gun control laws cannot stop beta males as related to this. And in many other cases, this man, while he was mentally unstable, was not supposed to be able to get access to firearms, but shows how beta males will find access to any weapon. And I've said this in multiple videos on my channel, that the beta male, if he can't get a gun, he'll find something else, because all he wants to do is destroy lives, because he feels his life is destroyed. And what this guy was looking to do, as he's looking to destroy people's lives, is looking to get as much attention for himself. Because that's the other component about beta males, is that they want to get attention for themselves. And that's what he's doing by escalating all of this drama. What he's looking to do is escalate this into drama. And as he looks to escalate this into drama, he's dropped off his car, he's driving in a boat, again, participating in this violence, but not wanting to take accountability or responsibility, but wanting to continue getting attention from the drama he creates. So when it comes to these beta males, they are insidious in their behavior, insidious in the way they operate, and we cannot let them deflect us as related to mental illness, because there is no mental illness here. No, there's no mental illness here at all. It's just bitch-made behavior and bitch-made men who cannot deal with life in the world. So because they're frustrated and angry because life's not going their way, they want to destroy the world around them. And they also, as they're looking to destroy the world around them, don't want to take accountability for anything or responsibility for anything. So that's what's happening here. And what the mainstream media is doing is trying to smokescreen it with mental health. What they want to do is put a mental health smokescreen to give these white males a pass, because white males are becoming the face of mass shooting. And because people are not buying into narratives like they're trying to do by spinning it and saying, oh, black people participate in mass shootings in the hood, people see that the face of mass shooters are white males. They see the face of mass murder as white males. And what they're trying to do with this case is trying to cover up for possibly with Robert Card, who's alleged right now, again, he's alleged to have participated in this murder, series of murders. So they're trying to try to cover this man's behavior up. But when I look at this case, again, it's the textbook pattern and profile I've seen from doing over a decade of research on these type of shooters. And with all of these shooters, they all basically are watching each other. They're all copying each other. That's why this guy got the AR style rifle. And again, people will argue it's a gun control issue. No, it's not a gun control issue. It's a family issue. And the problem with this face of terrorists, we don't want to acknowledge that we have raised all of these males to become terrorists. And we've raised generation after generation of male to become violent like this, because the way we raise boys to become men hasn't raised men. It's raised men in crisis, and they're creating a crisis of violence on the streets we're dealing with right now.
This is a clip from the press conference the other day. This is the governor, this is the governor of Maine, as well as I believe the mayor is present. They have the police chiefs and so forth. So I think this is we're going to play this. So is this the mayor? I think this is the mayor that's about to speak. So I'm going to play her and we'll listen to what she has to say.
Thank you for being here. You may notice my voice is a little hoarse.
This is the governor of Maine. I'm sorry. This is Janet Mills. Excuse me.
As you all know, last night, local, county, state, and federal law enforcement officers from around the state of Maine responded to a case of an active shooter at several locations in Lewiston, including Spare Time Recreation and Schmangy's Bar and Grill. These law enforcement officers, in the face of danger, responded swiftly, selflessly, and with great bravery. Bravery that they continue to demonstrate today as they search tirelessly for a person of interest in connection with last night's event. On behalf of all Maine people, I express my deep gratitude for your response and for your continued service. I also do so for Maine's hospitals and other medical emergency responders. I'm profoundly saddened to stand before you today and report that 18 people lost their lives, and 13 people injured in last night's attacks. In memory of those we lost and in honor of those who were injured, President Biden and I have ordered all U.S. flags and state of Maine flags to be lowered to half-staff immediately for the next 5 days. Maine State Police have issued a shelter-in-place order for Lewiston, Lisbon, and Bowdoin as the manhunt for that person of interest, Robert Card of Bowdoin, continues.
I want to point out something here. So you notice she said person of interest. They don't ever say the shooter when it's one of them. It's always a person of interest, Now, yes, as a general rule, yeah, a person is innocent till proven guilty, generally speaking. But we don't get the point of all of this that I'm saying is when this happens, when it's blacks, they don't ever use that term, person of interest. They may, closest they'll say is probably suspect. But she said person of interest, right?
Yep.
I will let law enforcement speak to the ongoing manhunt and to their investigation. But Mr. Card is considered armed and dangerous, and police advise that Maine people should not approach him under any circumstances. I continue to strongly urge Maine people to follow the direction of state and local law enforcement amid this ever-changing situation. Please, if you see anything suspicious, please call 911. There are still many things we don't yet know about these attacks, but the full weight of my administration is behind law enforcement's efforts to capture the person of interest, Robert Card.
Person of interest.
Hold whoever is responsible for this atrocity accountable under the full force of state and federal law, and to seek full justice for the victims and their families. We cannot and we will not rest in this endeavor.
Sean, so yeah, you've heard that. I'm not going to play all of it because it's a 42-minute clip, but what do you think of it, just listening to it so far? So you made great points on it. I would say that, like I said, they do a good job of making sure that their home is safe and protected. This is a person who, but for all intents and purposes, and no, I wasn't there. He is innocent till proven guilty. But the bottom line is that they got him on tape, what appears to be holding an AR-15, and everybody can put two and two together. Now, I wasn't there. I don't know what happened, but it's typical when we see these types of situations, Sean, as you know, whenever there is a, I want to say, whenever there is one of these mass shootings, like I said, they go after the weak, the people that cannot and are not able to protect themselves, sadly. And it's always this situation. And the easiest thing to do when there is a tragedy is to try to place blame on the easiest thing possible, which is our gun control law, our laws, our gun control. Why this isn't here? You understand? So, and that's for everybody. But that's what's happening here. But I do say rest in peace to all those that have been killed. But guys, please, if you can, I don't know what laws you are in your state. I think you should be astute to what the laws in your states are about firearms and learning how to get a concealed carry permit if you can get some, because you just may never know. It's not about murder. It's about self-defense. I want to protect myself. I want to protect my family in case something like this happens. Sean, I'll let you have the last word.
Well, when we look at this whole case, we clearly see that team white supremacy is getting on code. And they're getting on code by the words that they're using regarding this alleged shooter, because they're completely going out here and looking to find ways to minimize his acts of violence. And that started with the mental illness argument. And it's also continuing on with the way they talk about how this guy perpetrated this alleged crime. Everything that they're doing, again, is looking to try to find a way to avoid making this white male accountable for his crime, and also make an effort to try to make many of the white females accountable for the way that they raise their boys to become men. Because this entire situation, again, as I've stated in the man crisis, has to do with the way we raise boys to become men. And in the system of white supremacy, the white female does not want to be held accountable for the way she has raised boys to become dysfunctional men for 2 to 3 generations. And America doesn't want to acknowledge the fact that we've got over 100 million of these guys like this one out here. And it's not a matter of if they go off, it's a matter of when, and it's a matter of how dangerous their violence will be when they participate in their mass murders. These guys, again, out here, they have gone from ticking time bombs to landmines. And most Americans, they don't understand how dire the situation is with the man crisis and all of these guys that are out here, these beta males that feminists socially engineer, these kinder, gentler, softer males, and how these men are atomic bombs all over the place, and how this is the kind of violence they participate in, because these men do not know how to function in life. And when the least little thing in their life doesn't go their way, these men start to seethe with anger, then explode in rage, and then wind up going out here participating in extreme acts of violence and look to go out here and murder innocent people because they don't know how to process their feelings. That is what these guys do. And again, team white supremacy and white feminism enables these men to be as violent as possible. And team white supremacy goes out of its way to cover for these guys because they want to be able to participate in violence and get away with it and have no sense of accountability for themselves. So this whole situation is one where they try to get away with their criminal and depraved behavior. And This is what they're trying to do right here, trying to find excuses to get away with it. So this is why we have a man crisis in that country that gets worse. And sadly, I fear that the worst is yet to come. And maybe when it comes to the politicians' doorstep, they'll start to realize the monster that they've created, the monster they've enabled, because this is the face of modern terrorism. And most Americans don't want to acknowledge that because it means acknowledging the way we parent is completely messed up, the way we have families is dysfunctional, and the way we raise boys to become men is creating monsters. And these monsters are participating in extreme acts of violence, playing a covert game of topping one another as related to their violence. And the ultimate goal is to top Stephen Paddock's carnage, where almost 60 people lost their lives. That's the ultimate goal of many of these shooters. They want to go out here and participate in the most extreme act of violence and then hope to cover it up with mental illness, when it's not mental illness, it's bitch-made behavior, and it's bitch-made men who go out here and participate in this kind of violence because people keep giving them passes and never hold them accountable for being men in our society.
Tariq Nasheed mentioned this, and he put up how right now they're already talking about, Larry Elder is out talking about the Chicago, because
It's
of
a
the
deflection.
yeah, it's a deflection. Because of the Maine mass shooting, the president ordered flags to fly half-staff, and the press secretary called for further gun control. Yet neither the president nor the press secretary even mentioned the 53 people shot, 11 fatally during Memorial Day weekend in Chicago. Chicago is not the Chicago. Basically, what that is the proxy for black people. What about black on black crime? What about it's a deflection. This was an army dude, guys. That's the thing too. This is somebody who serves our country. He's a reservist, serving our country part-time. So, and he went ahead and allegedly, I'll play it along too, because I'm an attorney. I know how it is. Allegedly killed 18 people. You saw that white woman that fired shots into that police station a few weeks ago. She actually went into a police station and started shooting a gun at the windows. You remember that? Did you see that?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, and they didn't kill her. This was up in Connecticut, which is on the East Coast as well. She just went in there and opened fire. For whatever reason, I played this video before. You just look at this. Yeah, this happened.
A woman was caught on camera firing a gun inside a Connecticut police
I mean, look at
station.
that.
Surveillance video shows a 51-year-old woman entering the lobby of the Bristol Police Department, appearing to have a gun aimed at her head. She knocks on the front desk window with her left hand, with a gun in her right. This took place around 11:35 p.m., and there were no employees at the lobby desk. After banging on the window several times, the woman shoots into a door, then towards the front desk, according to police. The bullet-resistant glass did not shatter. After firing, she removed her jacket and took a seat in the lobby. More shots were fired towards a door where authorities say police officers were attempting to enter the lobby. Okay, go, 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 go. Officers used a taser to subdue the shooter.
Yeah.
The shooter was taken to the hospital for evaluation and was later released to authorities. She was charged with several offenses, including attempted murder with special circumstances and illegal discharge of a firearm.
So they tackled her. She was safe. They didn't shoot her. Well, Larry Elder, G-Man, is the biggest bootlick on earth. I don't know, between him and Barkley, I don't know which one's worse. Elder's been doing this stuff for years. He's been doing this since the 90s. Stephen A. Smith getting there, but Larry, but at least Stephen A. Smith, he has some sense on some stuff. He knows what he's doing. He's doing it for money. But Larry Elder, he believes it. He breathes it. Cooning is his thing. Let's go on, Sean. But
yeah,
but that's the point I'm talking about. Oh, gee, man, when you do me a favor, put your email address in so I can holler at you, by the way. But shout out to you. Also, hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. If you know what I'm worth and you like what I'm worth, then pay me for what I'm worth. It's not a demand, but if you'd like to drop something to contribute, as you know, the channel is not monetized. It's always welcome. Thank you very much. So, Sean, I wanted to go ahead and I wanted to talk about a couple of things. A few things I want to talk about, at least two. Sheila Jackson Lee, the representative out of Texas. I don't know if you heard about this, but she went on a rampage against her staff. A leaked audio that came out over some things that she was saying to them that you wouldn't necessarily like to hear from any employer. You would probably quit your job immediately. But Sheila Jackson Lee, did you hear this audio that was released?
no, I didn't.
Oh,
I don't want you to do a goddamn thing. I want you to have a fucking brain.
So there was apparently some type of document that mixed up that happened at work. One of the staff members mixed it up, and Sheila Jackson Lee went hood, to say the least. She did that fifth ward out in Houston. What's up?
Piece of paper from that woman regarding something that was over at Duncan Tail. Where is it? What date was it?
All from yesterday. Jerome took it upstairs. I have to call him. He took it up when I switched out the pictures. I'll call him.
I don't want you to do a goddamn thing. I want you to have a fucking brain. I want you to have read it. I want you to say, Congresswoman, it was such and such date. That's what I want. That's the kind of staff that I want to have. So some stupid other motherfucker did it, and I don't have the information. Nobody sent me the information. I need to ensure my schedule. And, if Boo-Boo did it, shit-ass did it, fuckface did it, and nobody knows a goddamn thing in my office, okay? Nothing. I gave it to you. Your job was to get it on the calendar, imprint it in your brain, or send me the information back saying, Congresswoman, I made sure that the Ovi Duncan Tell event that you gave me for so-and-so date at 7 is on the fucking calendar, not to, Jerome has it, okay? So when I called Jerome, he's going to be sitting up there like a fat-ass, stupid idiot talking about what the fuck he doesn't know, okay? Both of y'all are a fucking F. It's the worst shit that I could have ever had put together. Two goddamn big ass children. Fucking idiots. Serve no goddamn purpose. Ain't managing nobody. Nobody's respecting them. Nobody gives a shit about what you're doing. And you ain't doing shit. And this is an example of it. I gave it to Jerome. This is not child's work. Okay?
So Sheila Jackson Lee, and look, she's had a history of doing this stuff. I don't know if y'all know. Sheila Jackson Lee got into an incident a few years ago where a mother was bumped from a flight so she could get on, and she's been known to be saying and talking to people any kind of way. She has a history of doing that. She was voted, I believe, as the meanest congresswoman in this Congress, or the most disliked. At some point. Well, they say Susan Collins was one. But Sheila Jackson has been voted by, I know for a fact, she's been voted most disliked by others. And the way she talked, she was named the meanest Congress member. That's what she got in 2014. She's named the meanest congressperson. And I want to say this. She released a statement, obviously being apologetic for her profanity-laced audio recording, and y'all can listen to it here.
That you took a piece of paper from that woman regarding something that was over by Duncan Tail. Where?
So she released a statement here from Clip 2 Houston. She says, I'm regretful, basically for the audio recordings that were released ahead of mayoral elections. So I want to show this to everybody. She says, at heart, I am someone who tells it straight. I know that as much as that is a strength, it can sometimes be a challenge to balance. But when I fall short, I want the people I represent to know that it is because I'm standing up for them, not me. To anyone who has listened to this recording with concern, I'm regretful and hope you will judge me not by something trotted out by a political opponent that worked to exploit this and backed by extreme Republican supporters on the very day their polls opened, but from what I have delivered to Houstonians over my years of public service. Jackson Lee's statement read in part. Although it's not exactly clear when the audio, which lasted about 1 minute and 30 seconds, was recorded, Jackson Lee could be heard using foul language and insulting 2 of her staff members. And it's basically what this was in regards to is that Jackson Lee is running for mayor. So she's running for mayor, and this audio was released. And they think it was, I guess, released in part for political purposes, which it could be. But as I read this statement, and y'all can look at it here, I didn't hear anyone say, I didn't hear she say it was my fault, I'm sorry. I didn't see those words. She said she was regretful that it was played. So she was not regretful for what she said. She's regretful for what was leaked out and that everybody heard it. That's the opinion I got from this. What do you think, Sean?
Well, it seems like the problem here are the voters. I have to ask a critical question. Why do these people keep voting for this person who has no respect for their staff and no respect for their constituents? I mean, why do you keep voting for an abusive individual who clearly is not capable of doing their job? There comes a point where we can't just keep saying that these politicians are incompetent. It's up to we, the people, to deal with these individuals and hold them accountable. I mean, if a government isn't working for us, this is what Thomas Jefferson said, we're supposed to put them off and get a new government. And it's clear that this government that is out here does not work for us, is not interested in working for us or interested in doing things for us. So we need to start realizing that it's time to get rid of these people and stop voting for them and listening to their emotional pleas of democracy, because true democracy is getting rid of incompetent incumbents who basically take their jobs for granted, take their constituents for granted, and have no respect for we the people. There comes a point when we the people have to realize that we cannot keep tolerating abuse from abusive individuals, and we have the power to remove these individuals. So it's up to us to start waking up and saying, enough is enough of these kinds of people. Enough is enough of these people as related to their dysfunctional behavior. Enough is enough of their abusive behavior. Enough is enough, and we have to realize that these people have got to go, and we have to be the ones to fire them because they're supposed to be working for us, but they've got the attitude that we work for them, and we've got to make them understand that their job is made by our votes, and if they don't do what we need them to do, we can get rid of them. Again, we're supposed to be the ones picking the candidates, and where the problem is we the people take our government for granted. So with abusive people like this, the actions are us. It's up to us to get rid of these individuals, and it's up to us to stop voting blue no matter who, or red no matter who. It's about them looking to show us results and bring us tangibles for our votes. And if they don't bring us tangibles for our votes, then we show them the door.
Yes, indeed. Sean, yeah, I don't know why she keeps getting reelected over and over again, but that is the position of the Congressional Black Caucus, to get reelected over and over again, because we've become lackadaisy in voting. We don't do things strategically. But I think more and more people are starting to wake up today. I will say that much in regards to that. Hopefully she is not elected mayor. Sean is exactly right. Those voters in Houston seem not to care. She's gonna get elected mayor. I'm willing to bet the farm she will.
And if that happens, people get what they deserve.
Because that's what we know. I mean, but look what's happening up in Chicago. There are people who are having buyer's remorse for endorsing Brandon Johnson as mayor because of what he's doing with the immigrants in Chicago. They're suing the mayor and the city to stop them from spending funds on them and not putting it in the areas that need it the most, and just leaving those people there.
Yep.
Now, I want to talk about something I wasn't going to mention today because I hate giving her a platform, but Jada Pinkett Smith's book, Unworthy, I should call it Unworthy, they say is a flop. I don't know if you've heard this, but says, is Jada Pinkett Smith's shocking tell-all memoir a flop? Book revealing 7-year separation from actor Will Smith fails to crack top 10 on the bestseller. I should point out the New York Times bestseller has listed Worthy as number 4 on the New York Times bestseller, but I don't know how much weight that has today and how the New York Times measures that. But apparently the book, according to this Daily Mail article, they say it's performing poorly on some major book bestseller lists. They say the 52-year-old actress released the book on October 17th and managed to nab the number 3 spot on Amazon's charts for the week of October 22nd, which lists the top 20 most sold and most read books of the week. She finished behind Britney Spears' even buzzier memoir, The Woman in Me, and David Grant's Killers of the Flower Moon, which returned to the top of the charts thanks to interest in Martin Scorsese's Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro starring film of the same name. But on Amazon's main bestsellers list, Worthy has plummeted to just number 81 as of Tuesday. Notably, the main bestsellers charts only track sales, whereas Jada's book placed in the top 3 on the online retailers charts that track both sales and the number of Kindle readers and Audible listeners working through the book, suggesting that more people were interested in her memoir than they were willing to shell out for a copy they could own. So there are people who just didn't want to buy the book. The Matrix star's book also struggled to get readers to leave a review on Amazon. The store's listings show as of Wednesday that only 148 people have left a rating on her book, compared to the 1,043 people who have rated Britney Spears' memoir, which was only released on Tuesday. Worthy was completely missing from Amazon's list of its 100 top-selling Kindle books. However, it did top specialty list of women's biographies. It was also absent from Publisher Weekly's top 25 overall bestsellers. It didn't make the top 10 on its nonfiction bestseller list. Barnes & Noble's bestseller list, which was similarly missing an entry for Worthy in its top 100. But John Stamos, whose book was released after Jada, scored a spot in the 30s with his memoir. Sean, does it look like Worthy is unworthy?
Well, Worthy is just garbage, and most people are just tired of Will and Jada, and this basically shows how tired the world is tired of Will and Jada. I mean, Jada's book is nothing but lies and innuendos. It's just trash all around, and people are just tired of hearing from this woman. From the excerpts that she's presented just show how much of a liar she is, and the audience basically isn't interested in spending money on listening to her tell them lies, like Tupac Shakur giving her an engaged marriage proposal, or all of the lies she tells about the slap. The audience just is tired of Jada Pinkett Smith, They want her to go away. I mean, she was looking to try to use this to try to salvage Will Smith's career, but people are just tired of Will and Jada. They're tired of Will being pathetic. They're tired of Jada being an emasculating shrew. And Jada has basically put a nail in her own coffin, destroyed both her and Will's career. And the sales of Worthy show that her word is worthless, and she has the credibility of a $5 food stamp without the book at this point. Everyone sees her as a liar at this point. No one trusts her. No one wants anything to do with her. And Jada Pinkett at this point is no one anyone wants to deal with at this point. So people look at Jada and they see somebody who they don't care about or don't even want to listen to at this point. No, they don't want to listen to Jada Pinkett at this point. And since they don't want to listen to her, what she's seeing is that she's getting a rude awakening that nobody in Hollywood wants to even hear her anymore. No, no one wants to hear Jada Pinkett anymore. And the sales of Worthy, they should worry Jada Pinkett, because the sales of Worthy show that she doesn't have a career anymore and that her days in Hollywood are numbered. And she's basically on the way out, because if you can't sell a book of lies, then the truth is your career in Hollywood is over. And she better get used to buying store brand groceries and stuff from the 99-cent store, because she's headed to bust downtown, and that's where she's going to be headed sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Well, you know, selling books is hard. I know that much. You and I both know that.
Yeah.
But Jada Pinkett Smith is well known, which gives her a bit, gives her an edge. And honestly, yeah, people, I've heard from people, they're just tired of her running her mouth, making everything about her. I mean, she's back. And here's another problem, Sean. The fact that she goes on NBC on on NBC on Dateline with Hold a Copy talking about the book and the slap. She goes on these podcasts with with the basketball players, but she's been making her rounds on radio promoting this thing. She's telling everybody everything already that's in the book. So when you tell everybody this stuff, you sell it, nobody's going to buy it. If you're telling everybody what's in it, no one's going to buy it. Oh, Tupac proposed to me. Really? Maybe even his own wife, his ex-wife, has come out and checked that. I think his brothers even said that's not true.
Yep.
A lot of people come out because nobody wanted to mess with Jada. He wasn't messing with Jada like that.
No.
And just by the type of woman she is, that Jada Pinkett Smith has made herself to be made known. I know for a fact, and I don't even know Tupac, but you've seen Tupac. He knows how to keep his distance from women like that.
Yep.
So I'm just done with it. Yeah, how is this impact? And this has impacted Will Smith's career, obviously, because you think about it, Hollywood is an industry based on appeal. How can you attract people to come to the movies? Nobody really is feeling Will Smith right now. Wasn't feeling Will Smith after that slap. Nobody was feeling Jada. Obviously, I don't think Jada is going to be able to get any more roles because nobody's going to watch it. I'm not saying she shouldn't work by no means, that she can get a job fine. But do you think people are going to pay money to watch her in a leading role? No, I don't see it. And I mean, do you think this is going to hurt? You honestly think Will Smith's career is hurt from this thing?
It's damaged.
It's completely damaged. So you don't think he can come back and make $100 million movie?
Nope.
So Bad Boys 4 is going to flop, according to you.
Yep, it's going to flop hard.
I think Will could still say his career may still be salvageable. I don't see Will Smith. Not worth it.
Well, nobody respects him anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, I mean, Bad Boys is a big franchise. I will say that someone, G-Man said she ruined her and Will's brand. Yeah, oh, damn, that's wrong. Yeah, I think she heard the brand. They're gonna break the piggy bank and wander where Will Smith and her came. So go. Jada gonna break the piggy bank. Okay, DeAndre. Yeah, I think Jada is. I'm still tired of talking about this woman. Shit. Yeah, the bank has been broken. At any rate, we're gonna wrap it up. Sean, before we get out of here, I do want to ask if you'd stay on. I have a question I want to ask you off the record. G-Man, shout out to you, DeAndre Mosley, and Derek Bailey. Haven't seen you in a while. I wonder where Darius from Atlanta is. Shout out to, I haven't seen him in a while. Ladies and gentlemen, if you love me and you love my time, then pay me for my time. I'm not requesting donations, but as you know, any contributions you have, you would like to make is greatly appreciated. Sean, I do want to ask you if you want to tell us what your live stream will be about tomorrow.
I still haven't figured that out. I'm still wondering what I'm going to talk about. I mean, it's on the fence.
All right. Shout out to DeAndre Mosley, who won the costume contest last Saturday, too, by the way. Came as a crippled Egyptian pharaoh. You should have loved this song. We had a good time last Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want?
Well, all right. You can pick up some SJS Direct books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. The 2023 books of John Haynes, 1987, and John Haynes Godbreaker are available in paperback and Kindle format on Amazon.com. And you can find all of the books of the SJS Direct imprint on online booksellers like Barnes & Noble, Smashwords, the iBookstore, Google Play, Walmart, and Target.
And you can buy just simple guys, just buy The Woman Crisis on Amazon for Sean, or The Man Crisis, one of those two. Great books. And you can also, guys, check out on Kindle, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby. And Sean, I think that about covers it. If you would like to hit a contribution, you can go down at the link at the bottom to Cash App, PayPal as well. Rest in power, Mr. Richard RoundTree. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap this thing up. It's been a good talk. I will see you all in the next one. And pray for those victims out in Maine, ladies and gentlemen, out in Lewiston, Maine, that happened there. Also, if you would like to advertise, shoot me an email, gavin.grich1@gmail.com. Brother G-Man, why don't you hit me up via email so I can reach out to you? All right. But yeah, we had a good time at the comedy show. It was good to see you, DeAndre. Sean, you would have loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever been to a comedy club before. Have you?
No, I have never been to one.
Damn, I was just guessing. All right. Well, we're going to wrap this one up, y'all. I will see y'all all probably Sunday, okay? Love y'all. Shout out to you, Danielle. Be one, be safe, and be blessed. I'll holla. Peace. Me on the screen.